Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So tonight we kind of speaking about rulings, Fatawa, Hadith, and keeping things in their proper perspective, right? Because I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about it, but right now some of the issues that me and some of the brothers been dealing with some of the other Muslims and some of the stuff that we're hearing, people twisting up rulings, saying all type of different things, this person said and this and that, and it's starting to cause some major issues in Islam. And I remember when I started to see this stuff come about where people was forcing Daleel. Like, yeah, they went and found a hadith, but it didn't fit the subject matter for what they was discussing. So I'm going to play a little short clip of something that a person is asking me about, so we can discuss the issues that's going on. But I want to show what it's leading to when people don't really understand rulings and when they twist stuff into their desires. Listen to this. This my people, you know what I'm saying? We done talk, so they don't have an issue with me just sharing this little clip. Listen to this right here. Bismillah.
Alhamdulillah, Nabi Khair. Alhamdulillah. So I was having a conversation yesterday, and an interesting topic was presented, and I wanted to know, what would you say? So, the first question: is it haram for a sister, or is a sister sinful if she don't remove her facial hair? That's number one. Number two, let's say a sister has hold on, my phone. Okay. So the second part, let's say that a sister grows excessive facial hair, okay, and she grows excessive facial hair. She has tried laser removal and the hair continued to grow back. She shaves, she has to shave daily because it constantly is growing back, waxing daily to the point where her skin is suffering from constantly trying to remove this facial hair. So then she decided, whatever, I'm not doing it no more, and she let it grow. Will she be sinful? Will she be considered imitating a man, even though she's not she's not taking pills to grow facial hair? She's not doing any of those things. It's just, her maybe a hormonal imbalance or whatever. Jazakallahu khairan.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted people to hear this clip, and we're going to be able to segue into some of the things that's being said. So as we continued on with the conversation, basically, as y'all can hear, they was having a conversation, and basically somebody was trying to say that if a female has a little bit of hair on her face, not growing no full beard, and it's funny because just the other day I was talking about it in the video with these foods and different things, and how women starting to get testosterone in their body, more testosterone than estrogen, or the body ain't balancing out and they starting to grow facial hair. So they trying to say that if the sister doesn't remove the facial hair, even if it's just a little thin, little bit of mustache, a couple of little chin hairs, it's haram if they don't remove it. Okay? When in the deen, you don't see anywhere where it says that it is haram. Now, if they don't, if they even if they eyebrows connect right here, they not even allowed to pluck that and shave that, right? But the point is, this individual is trying to argue with them and say that it's haram, and that they sinful because the hair naturally grows, a little hair naturally grows on their face, that they trying to imitate the men. Because, and this is the part where I'm getting to, because they misunderstanding a hadith. And a lot of people misunderstand this hadith about the men who imitate women and the women who imitate men. Now, listen to that. Well, some people are already familiar with the hadith. But listen to what I said and don't put a narrative on it. There's a hadith about a curse and different things that's going to be up on the woman who imitates a man and a man who imitates the woman. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Now, from what I know and the understanding I have, and from what I've been taught and how it was explained to me in context, this was referring to women that you would refer to as a stud. They might not necessarily be sexually active, but they're carrying themselves like a man in mannerism, in dress, because they're trying to attract women. Same with guys. They may not be in a sexual relationship with another man, but they're dressing like a woman in drag, and they're doing this with the sole purpose to attract men. So some people take this hadith and use this hadith to beat women over the head and say, you can't wear pants and tennis shoes. Women can't wear pants, they can't wear tennis shoes because this is imitating a man. A woman can't, even though she have her hijab on, and I done seen sisters do this, like a sister who, she had some kids that was active in sports. So when she would go watch her son practicing football and she'd be out, she would have a sun visor over her hijab to keep the sun and stuff out of her eyes. You have people who say they can't wear no sun visor because that's imitating a man. So due to that hadith, if the sister who's tearing up her skin because she done tried lasers, she's constantly shaving, she's putting creams, and it's tearing her skin up, and it's not like she has hair on her face like a man, but her skin is getting irritated, so she's just leaving it alone and just letting a little bit of mustache and the couple of little chin hairs just be there. And due to them not fully understanding this hadith, they're saying that this is haram, they being sinful because they're imitating a man. They're not forcing themselves to grow facial hair like what some of these studs do, and some of these people who get surgeries and trying to transform into a full man. So I mentioned this is specific to this hadith. So right now, due to this hadith, and y'all may have not come across it, but now you actually have Muslims, not just in 2025, for the last few years, you got Muslim men who saying it's not permissible for men to wear thobes and izars because they look like dresses. They women clothes. See how far this is starting to go? And this is their excuse. Men can't wear thobes and izars, even the jilbab, because it looks like an overgarment for the woman. So if you wearing a thobe, a jilbab, and a izar, you imitating a woman, right? This is starting to get dangerous. And just like that, now the sister, she's sinful because she don't want to keep tearing up her skin for a little bit of hair that's on her lip. Now, what she's doing is haram, is sinful, and then when you part of a particular group, now you labeled as this, that, and now you could be mistreated. Like, I won't go too more in depth to how more of the conversations and more stuff that was had, but it basically led to some conversations as far as the brother beating up the sister. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, I talked to them, so they ain't tripping about me sharing it. But basically, it even led to how they also got to give their kids up to the father, because having the kids around might make the new husband beat the wife up for having kids, when they really need to look into the rulings. Is they forced to give the kids up when they remarry? People need to look at that, because I'm telling y'all, man, when you start looking at stuff and you start looking at real Daleel and read the whole thing and listen to the whole thing as to what somebody else say to you, you will start to see that's really not what the scholar said, or you could see why there's a difference in how this is viewed, because they may have had limited information when they answered the question. And see, that's one thing, like a lot of Muslims don't really know. A lot of Muslims think a Q&A is a ruling or a fatwa, when it's not. In every case, every time a scholar answers a question, that don't make it a ruling. That don't make it a fatwa. And then sometimes it might just be, this is what I would do. You really have to understand what a ruling and a fatwa and fatawa actually is. But you have people who don't know this, and then they want to force things, or they want to seem more knowledgeable. Well, I want to be careful with that. I don't want to say that's what they want to do. Be careful with my words. But they push certain narratives on people that listen to them and cling to them, but the narrative comes from them, and it's not what a scholar, or it's not really a ruling, it's not really a fatwa, and it may be an opinion, just how a person say, this is how I would do it, but it's general. Like when you start to learn about fiqh, and you start to learn about rulings, real rulings and fatwas, right? Fatawa. If a scholar is in Egypt and he's never been to America, and he don't know the environment, he don't know the circumstances, because it ain't always a one size fit all. And then you ask them something while they in Egypt and they don't even know nothing about America, your best scholars is going to say you have to contact somebody who's been in America that's familiar with the landscape and the laws of the land. Not unless it's something that's a one size fit all ruling, where it applies to every Muslim. Like, every Muslim got to pray 5 times a day. Every Muslim got to make wudu before they pray. Some way, shape, or form. Even if you sitting down, even if you laying down, you understand? So like, if it's certain type of rulings or something going on, especially if it's a situation where they're going to make something that's haram halal. Just like how there's a narrative where they pushing that how these women can wear weave and there's fatwas and all this other stuff. But when you go look at it, no, that is no fatwa saying women can wear weave if it's made of wool, if it's this and that. No, that is something somebody else looked at something and they twisted it up. And then they had some of these sisters, and then they'll cloak it under like certain hadiths about make the deen easy for the people and whatever is part of the culture that they already live in. Like if this is a common thing from apart from the culture, then you could go ahead and make it permissible because it's from the culture. But not when it's something from the deen that Allah says He'll curse you for it. Because weaves and wigs, this is not new issues. And the excuses that people try to use when they came to the Rasul with these same issues. My hair, my daughter, her hair is falling out because of a sickness she has. Can we put weave in her hair because her husband doesn't think it's attractive for her to be bald headed? Can she put a wig on? No. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said no and made it clear. And for the women who put that in their hair, Allah cursed them. The one who put the weave on the sister, and the sister who's running around with it, and who paid for, who involved in it, Allah curses them. How are you going to take that and then come up with some type of ruling and figure out a way to make it permissible based off of a hadith where some Muslim sisters had ribbons around their braids attached to their hair? So they was able to attach this cloth to their head, these ribbons. Now you can attach these weave. But when these scholars haven't seen this, and like I say, like I'm gonna say again, I never heard a scholar say it. I never seen or read where a scholar said this. I seen certain things where other people put stuff together and had certain things on the internet, but I know the hadith that they twisted up. But you got sisters running around with weave in their hair in abundance, talking about as long as it's not animal hair, as long as it's not human hair, but it could be wool. Wool comes from a sheep though. Oh, well, what if it's this much wool and then this polyester and then this much acrylic, as they were saying. But anyway, not to go too far into that. So just think about people taking this hadith. Now she's trying to imitate men because a little hair naturally grows on her face. Right? Men, Muslim men, can't wear thobes because they look like dresses. We can't wear izars because they look like dresses. Do they look like dresses? I say this. Before a lot of people became Muslim, that's definitely what a lot of people first thought. Man, that's a dress. Okay? So, if you're going to just label it down, and like I say, I understand why they can twist their hadith, because they already have a corrupt understanding about the hadith. When this hadith, in context, is referring to gay people, lesbians, and, I want to be careful with my words, whatever politically correct to say. What they say? The LGQTBs or whatever. That's more so what it's referring to. Because let's just be real. Do a thobe and an izar, and it looks like a dress to certain people. So if it's meant about that, so like I say, I understand what they trying to say, but see, this is their desires. I'm going to tell y'all another thing where people are starting to do. And this is why people need to understand about rulings, what's real rulings, what's real fatwas, what's real fatawa, what's ijma on, what's just an opinion that a scholar has, and what did they really say, and look at it, is this being taken out of context. You have in the Hanafi madhab, okay, some of his students didn't agree with it, so they kind of took it out of some of his works. But when you look at some of his original works, in the Hanafi madhab, it's permissible. And then people want to go into, because people from that madhab, they want to defend it. But it is what it is. It's permissible to make wine as long as it comes from natural sources like honey, right? Other different fruits. Because you got to look at the whole entire fiqh and break down of why. Because for them, khamr had to be made from grapes. So the khamr, the wine that was made from grapes, is haram. So if you make it from something else, then you could drink it. Why am I mentioning that? Because right now, not just 2025, but now it's finna get blown out of proportion. Inshallah it doesn't, but it already really has. Now you have Muslims who feel like you can drink beer because beer doesn't have alcohol in it. Because they don't understand khamr refers to intoxicants. So you can drink beer because beer doesn't have alcohol in it, and then some of the beers that do have alcohol in it, you stay away from, like this has 5% alcohol in it. We're talking about beers that intoxicate you, that get you drunk. All beer doesn't have alcohol in it. To them, like a wine, it's fermented, you know what I'm saying? But some just have a stronger alcohol content added to it. Just like you have some alcohols, some whiskeys and gins and all that. You have some that's 90 proof. You have some that's 100 proof. And these type of things. But I'm saying this is from their logic now. You can have beer because beer isn't made like a wine. So also, you could do all the other stuff that intoxicate you as well. The marijuanas, the pills. Because it doesn't have alcohol in it. But they're using what some people feel like is a ruling or a fatwa from Imam Hanifa. May Allah be pleased with him. When he just had an opinion. But when you look at the opinion that he had and just look at it and take the fanaticism away, he was an imam of the imams of the madhabs. He was Sheikh al-Islam of his time, and all these things that people want to start to say. When you look at his point of view on why you can make wine from honey and other different things as long as it ain't grapes, his opinion is flawed. What he used as Daleel doesn't fit. But we make the excuse for him and say it's a possibility the real Daleel hadn't reached him. You see what I'm saying? Because of his own words. If you come across something from the Sunnah that goes against what I'm saying, what I teach you, then that's my Sunnah. The only reason why it's not my Sunnah right now because it hasn't reached me yet. But y'all travel. You come across something, you take that and throw away what I told you. But by people mixing up these rulings and taking this stuff and not understanding, now people making it permissible to drink beer. Or, guess what else? In the jailhouses, they could drink hooch, which they refer to as, it's in some countries, man, where they be making a form of hooch, but they call it sawuji. And I was listening to an imam years ago, Imam Siraj Wahaj. This was in like the early 2000s, like maybe 2002, 2000 and Yeah, like 2002. But it was an older lecture that somebody gave me on a CD, and he was talking about they had traveled to one of the Muslim countries, and they was having this dinner, this big, huge dinner, and he said they gave him a drink, and he said he drunk it, and he said he got a buzz, and he was like, man, what is this? They was like, that's Sawuji. He like, Sawuji? This beer. What you mean, Sawuji? This is beer. You know what I'm saying? But they was under the impression because of the Hanafi madhab, and some people might have to dig deep to find this ruling, or you might even be able to find it on the internet. I've seen it. I looked at it for myself. It's permissible to drink that and make it, as long as you don't use grapes. But you need to look at the whole ruling. But your heart desires it. They want it. So just think about that. Now, people using hadiths, men, well, I don't wear no thobe. The hadith Salam say, and when y'all hear me say Salam, that's not me. But around here, that's what a lot of Muslims be saying. Salam. So when I say that, I'm kind of, it's me making light of the situation funny. Basically like saying these individuals who don't know what they be talking about. But that's what they say. Salam say, like, so they won't even say Prophet Muhammad sometimes. They just be like, Salam say, wearing a thobe, dressing, you can't imitate the woman. Wearing a thobe and an izar is imitating the women in dress. Yeah, but not just here. It's people, and it's usually some of those individuals who call it Arab stuff or whatever they reasoning, but now they're using hadiths to justify it. These ones who drinking these beers and still getting intoxicated and still getting drunk. Hey, Hanafi madhab say, as long as it don't come from grapes, we can get down. It ain't referring to an intoxicant, it's referring to alcohol. So I can get high, I can pop pills, twisting fatwas. Now because you got a little bit of a mustache, you haram. You what you doing is haram. Those who live haram, your prayers ain't accepted because you got a haram mustache. Because you imitating men. Now none of your prayer, none of your du'as accepted. All this, throwing all this stuff in there. I'm gonna touch another little ruling and saying that's out there. And I really don't want to, but I'm going to, because it's too close to the subject that's at hand. Right now, and wallahi, this conversation got brought up with, just like how they sent me that for us to go through it, somebody else sent me another thing, and then I end up talking to somebody else, right? So, and then we having this conversation is basically about the pork. So, some people say there's medicine that has pork in it, right? If you take that medicine, it's haram. Because it's some pork. So the medicine that has pork in it is haram. But this candy, this cheese, these chips, this bread, these cookies, they're permissible because we don't know the name of the pork in the medicine, but the process that y'all used to say that the pork and the candy and chips is permissible, it's no longer a pig anymore, then why when it comes to the medicine, why is that no longer a pig anymore? I'm not trying to justify it, but I'm mentioning that for a reason. So we're going to go to a Quran ayat. Let me pull up a Quran ayat real quick. Let me pull up a Quran ayat, man, inshallah. Now listen to what Allah says in the Quran. And I'm going to read two of them. I'm going to read, it's Quran ayat, Surah 2, ayat number 173. But I'm going to read 172 along with it, right? O believers, O you who believe, eat from the good things from which Allah has provided for you, and give thanks to Allah if you truly worship Allah alone. So boom, we're supposed to eat from the good things that Allah provided for us, right? So Allah has forbidden for you the mata, animal that dies of itself, or sometimes they put dead animal, but it's referring to a carcass. So like in a hadith that I was reading about where they was melting it down, rendering it down, I should have used the word carcass. So like when you slaughter some and you remove everything, and it might still have the head, the eyes, the ears, these scrap pieces. Now it's a carcass, stuff you would really throw away or let animals eat, but instead you rendering that down. So it's more like a carcass. So any animal that dies from itself, unless it's a particular animal that comes from the sea, or a carcass after you done did it, and that stuff that's on that carcass, those scraps, but anyway, and blood and the flesh of swine, which, right? Now listen, anything that's coming from the pig, right? This don't just mean the skin. For like, so the people who say this means you can't eat ham, you can still eat bacon, you can still eat bratwursts, because that's not the flesh. Only ham and pork chops is the flesh. Okay? Because they toying with the English. Can't eat no pork, nothing from the pig. And that which is slaughtered as a sacrifice for other than Allah. Right? But if one is forced by necessity, without willful disobedience, nor transgressing the boundaries or the limits that has been set by Allah, then there is no sin on them, because truly Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. If you need some medicine to live and it got pork in it, how a person gonna say it's haram on one hand, and this medicine you need to save your life, but on the other hand, you can eat this candy and cottage cheese and these cookies and stuff with gelatin in it. The medicine haram though? When Allah says in the Quran, even if it's bacon or ham, if you're on the verge of like real starvation and you get ready to die, you can eat some pork to save your life. You can't overeat it. You can't stuff yourself and get overfull. You can't exceed the boundaries. No. But you can eat pork flesh. If you in some type of concentration camp, like where they lock Muslims up, or where the United States government just be bothering Muslims and throwing them in camps, labeling them, and the only thing that they will feed you is pork, you can eat that pork to give yourself some strength. Why you can't take the medicine though? But at the same time, you come up with all this and this purified and this and this, but they'll sit down and say that medicine with pork in it is haram. Now we talking about medicine that you really need to save your life, not certain over-the-counter medicines where you have other options. But if this is going to save your life, just like if you go to, or well, you know, some of these medicines and stuff have alcohol in them, right? If you get drowsy, this and that, cool, alhamdulillah, choose something different. This medicine is haram because it have pork in it. Choose something different. Okay, if these cookies and candies have pork in it, why not choose something different when it comes to that? Because people be desiring. If you eat something with some pork in it, it's because you want it. Medicine don't always taste good. But how? So that's why when I hear people saying a scholar said you can't take these, the doctor gave you this medicine and this and that, and these pills for whatever you need for whatever you got going on, antibiotics, you can't take that to cure yourself because pork is in it. And I'd be like, well, in my head, I'm going to be like, what scholar said that? Like, it's a Quran ayat saying due to necessity, as long as you don't escape the boundary, you can eat pork meat. Why you can't take the medicine? Now, if it's like possibly like some vitamins, which you may need, you can go choose. There's other choices, and then a lot of times, and I've been in those type of situations where there was some stuff that had I used to take these cleansing formulas, and the capsule had gelatin. All you had to do is pull it apart and take what's on the inside. But it was something that I really had to take to cleanse my stomach out. And it's not like it's wet where it get mixed in there with whatever is on it. Just like, but some of these, like even some of these like turkey hot dogs and different stuff, they have pork collagen around them. So, and I know people who eat it. And I sit up and say to them who use it, I thought you could only eat gelatin. Then they play me like I'm stupid. Collagen is gelatin. Also, these two different, but this is like an actual skin covering around your bratwurst. You can eat that? Well, it is gelatin. Playing with the rulings. But this medicine, the doctor done gave your wife some medicine that she need, and you talking about she can't take the medicine because you don't know if pork is in it or not. She trying to save her life, B. Now, if she choose to die, or if she choose, if she can add, you always want, is there an alternative? Is there this? Is there that? If it ain't, they can take the medicine, man. So that's why when I say, so I always go look. What scholar said that? And then I have to go look at the whole thing, and I'd be like, okay, I understand why he said, just like when you look at why Imam Hanifa, and sometimes you got to take the personality, you got to take the fanaticism off of it and say, okay, I understand why he said what he said, but there's a mistake in how he viewed it. There's a mistake here. He said this, that's not how it go. That's not the process. That's not what it is. That's a mistake. And maybe he made that mistake because he went based off of some information that was given to him and didn't really dig into it. But he might have trusted the person that told him something. So the excuse for them is always there. But the people who push these narratives, like, just think of that. You actually literally have Muslims who say you can't take these medicines. Some medicines is haram because pork in it. But these candies and turkey bratwurst with collagen and all this stuff around it is. When the medicine you actually need to save your life. These bratwurst, these candies, you don't need that garbage. So you something, but some of us, we don't have that. We don't know how to go view it. And these things is twisting up views. Now you got people drinking hooch in prison as long as ain't no grapes in it. Drinking beer and doing all type of intoxicants. Saying you can't wear no thobe, no izars because it look like a dress. You know what I'm saying? Because they misinterpreting a hadith. But this is the funny thing, and I'm going to put this out there because this ain't really no secret. It might be a secret to some, but they might be married to a woman that used to mess with women, and they doing other things. They having threesomes and stuff. When she sit down, she can't do this and that because it's imitating a man, this and that, but she could sit down and do the things that a man do to a woman for your pleasures, though. It's too much picking and choosing, and it's too much twisting up the Daleels and Fatawas where it doesn't fit. And this is a dangerous thing, man. And it's starting to become more prevalent. If Allah say in the Quran, out of necessity, and then some people try to use this and be like, oh, if it's a little bit of pork, it's some candy that I want. Due to this Quran ayat, it's a little bit of candy, it's some little bit of cookies, and I don't know. I didn't go to the factory and see how much pork is in it, but I'm gonna assume I'm gonna assume this is 1.2% pork in it. That's what I'm gonna assume. So therefore, since it's just a little bit, I can have it. That ain't no necessity. You know what I'm saying? That ain't no situation. As a matter of fact, you transgressing the limits. Just like when I read what the scholars actually say from the committee of scholars, they said, no, that's not true. That's not a fact. It can't even have a little bit of pork in it. It can't even have a drop. It can't even have a pepper-sized portion of pork in it. But this is what it's going. Just think about that. I can't wear no throw because I'm imitating a woman. Twisting the hadith. And this is happening with a lot. These just a few things that I'm speaking on. And we got to get educated, man. We got to get educated. I heard, and I wrote this on the board, man. I heard an imam say, and I'm gonna be honest, it was Shadid Muhammad, right? I just had, while I was getting ready for work, I went ahead and checked out one of his newest videos, right? And I could see that man frustration, man, and he was trying to talk to the people about what's haram and the way these sisters is calling stuff abayas and this stuff ain't a abaya, which he telling the truth. And brothers wearing the Allah pendants and they gold or they got all these diamonds and different stuff in them. He giving them real rulings about jewelry from hadiths, but the people in the comment arguing with him. But this is the thing that be bothering me the most. The people who generally, from me, that I hear do this and all this, oh, you can't do this medicine, man. Every single last medicine is haram. Or these medicines is haram because of pork, but these ones might not be. But it's to save your life. You can't have it. He pointing this stuff out. And because he talking about people making a mockery, and I know people was getting offended. And the man said, y'all don't see the mockery because you can't see the standard. You don't know the standard of Islam. We don't know the standard, the precedent that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam them said. It's even to the point right now where I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't even recognize this version of Islam no more. It's haram to wear thobes and izars, but they're using hadiths. You can drink beer and hooch because of the Hanafi madhab. You can't take this medicine that has pork in it to save your life, but you can eat these candies and chips that you desire. We twisting it up, man. And a little small thing, what I'm talking about with some of the brothers, because people starting to have issues again with walis, wakils, and I'm trying to get them to understand, right now, there's really nowhere that you can go. If you don't go to a school and you don't get no training, there's really nowhere that you could go to learn how to be a wakil. I mean, there is, but it's only certain masjids, it's only certain people that I've been seeing where they trying to teach it how to be a wali, how to be a wakil, and some imam training. But a lot of people, they don't really know how to be wakils. And that's why you have all of this. We need 10 sit downs, 6 months worth of counseling. We need bank records and all this different stuff that they're going through. But I understand people feel like this is what we need to do to protect our community. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. A lot of people don't really know how to be walis and wakils. They don't know how to look sisters. They don't know how to conduct sit downs. They just going by what they feel. And a lot of them don't really know how to be imams. I know a little hadith. I know some Arabic. I listen to this one. The masjid is in dire strait. I'm just going to become the imam of the masjid. Right now, the president of Rwanda, altogether, this man said he just shut down 600 churches and masjids. The man just shut down 600 churches and masjids collectively. Not 600 churches by itself and then 600 masjids. Collectively, he done shut down 600 churches and 600 masjids. And now they're making people have a degree in some type of education that shows you pass courses and you're qualified to be an imam or a pastor, a preacher, or whatever. Because people been turning these, people ain't been qualified to run them. People don't really know what people just up there winging it, and then they using it to make money, or they putting a negative religious dogma on the people where they might be teaching them to hate other Muslims and don't be peaceful with them. And the same with the churches. That's how bad it's getting. Just imagine if they did that in America. Let me tell you something, Jack. It'll be a lot of masjids not open. It would be a lot of masjids. Some of y'all favorite masjids, whatever you call yourself being up under, whatever label it is, a lot of your masjids will get shut down. And then they will be forced to bring in, and like sometimes certain degrees, some of your basic this and that, like a dawah, this and that. I mean, yeah, a person could get a person, you could come in and give a khutbah or two, do your basic this and that. But trust me, a lot of doors would be closed, baby. Especially here. And that's one thing that I do give. That's one thing about the zeal that I like about the foreigners. But they come from a culture of Islam and masjids and seeing, if it's falling apart, they come together. Like, even with me, trying to work with some people and trying to deal with, trying to set up some things and get people to move here that can actually teach and want to do classes, that can actually teach the people and also give khutbahs. Because, like with them foreigners, let me tell you something, man. One person giving the khutbahs, even if they have to make up their own way to do the khutbahs, they don't have one. Even if they have to take their phone and read the whole khutbah from a book of pull up somebody else's khutbah that a scholar wrote and set up on a minbar and read it from their phone. Even if they don't understand Fusa, they gonna do something. But like sometimes with some of us, we can't get nothing together because people like, I ain't finna go learn so I could teach. I ain't gonna get up there and get no khutbah if you get sick. So like, even with me, or if I got involved with a masjid, 100% of everything is on me. every class, every bar, every prayer being led. Well, maybe, somebody might step in and lead a prayer too, but if I ain't around, but because don't nobody want to do nothing, man. So I understand. I don't knock them for doing what they got to do, but if they decided to do the same thing here, a lot of masjids would be closed. A lot of masjids would be closed. People gonna sit around and have to fake credentials. People gonna have to sit around and fake credentials to come up with some type of piece of paper, and then you're gonna start see where they gonna have like different programs and imam trainers. Not know we don't want to train nobody else to be an imam and set somebody else to run this masjid because that's my job security. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I see people that the hafiz of the masjid. They ain't making nobody else in the community the hafiz. They'll teach you the short swords in the back as you're a kid and they tell you to get on, but they training their kids to become hafiz so that their kid can replace them when the time comes. Job security. Wallahi, I done looked at it. I done watched them do it. But even had to sit down and say stuff to them, what the dean say. The best is the ones who learn the Quran and teach the others. Why you won't make nobody else? Why can't nobody come to this masjid and become a hafiz and you here? Even if they paying you. But they training their son for the position. Yeah. Yeah. Then working to get their son on the board. Whatever their reason, I don't want to put what's in their heart, but this is real talk. But I get them that. But I'm telling you, if they did that here, a lot of masjids gonna be closed, B. Then you're gonna have a lot of other people who not even gonna know what to do. They not gonna know how to get in the house and do. They not gonna know what to do. They just gonna be SOL, as they say. But anyway, man, hopefully, man, this is something for people to think about, man. And when you looking at stuff, man, like I say, man, every question and answer session is not a ruling. It's not a fatwa. And anybody who don't believe me, you probably can Google it. Ask Siri. I wouldn't be surprised if you can ask Siri. Is every Islamic Q&A session, is that a ruling? And then some of the times when they answer the question, it be general. The answer that they gave to this person might not fit you. Just like when it was times in the days of the Rasul where he told one couple, when Ramadan, when you fasting, you can't kiss and hug on your wife. You know what I'm saying? You can't kiss and hug your wife. But then this person, it's cool for you to kiss your wife. Well, why him? See, this don't apply to you. He older. He's more on he got it, his deen up. He got a little bit more taqwa. Y'all gonna get the humping. You know what I'm saying? Y'all too? You brother? Nah, you can't do it. So sometimes when a question is answered, now imagine if some people were sitting around and he told the older brother, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is it okay for me to kiss my wife during Ramadan? Nah, you could kiss your wife during Ramadan. Now all the people who sitting there gonna be running around, man, the Sheikh Rasulullah said you could kiss your wife during Ramadan. Now they kissing their wife and falling into whatever it is. But it might not be cool for you to do it. Just like some people say, hey, Rasulullah, advise me, what should I do with my deen? You fast 3 days a month, make duha, make your night prayer, this and that. Well, what about me, Rasul? Do this. You feed the poor, this. But some things was meant for other people. But like if it was today where somebody just sitting around asking one person asked a question and they get a general answer, and then the next thing you know it's spreading. But that might not be something that apply to you. That's something that might be dangerous for your dean. But we don't even know to take these type of things into consideration. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about to get up off of here, man. Alhamdulillah. And it's about to get interesting, man. I'm gonna say this, man. I usually don't even talk about classes and stuff that I be doing, but I done let a teacher convince me on a challenging aspect to learn a madhab from top to bottom, starting with Aqidah, and gonna get an ijazah, certificate, diploma, and it's gonna take me 6 years. So I'm finna be in school for 6 years, right? Or if I can speedball and get done in 5. And I'm gonna do it, but I know I'm gonna be bucking because I am aware that they didn't have the daleel for every last ruling that they made. They even said it. And now we in a time where all the daleel is at our feet. When it comes to certain things, I'm be like, nope. there's Quran and Sunnah on this, which they not forcing it to me. And see, that's why when I study fiqh, I did comparative fiqh. Because comparative fiqh don't just keep you on madhabs, it teach you the fiqh of Quran and Sunnah, like the way they dealt with fiqh before the madhabs came around. But the beauty of learning fiqh is it teach you how to look at rulings, how to look at daleel. So even, when you learning it for real, because right now, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I can say right now, I don't know anybody. The people I know that say they Hanbali, well, I'm Hanbali in fiqh. I'm Hanafi, I'm Maliki. I don't know not one of them that's a real student of that madhab. They might have a book or two. They might have a teacher or something that be talking to them about the deen. But when you listen to them and they say what they say, and when you study comparative fiqh, you be like, that's not even from your madhab, though. But then the person who they really learning from they might not be qualified in that madhab. Like let's say this right here. I want people to get this. Because a person might call themselves a sheikh. Let's say you're a scholar of hadith. Right? But you're going to teach people the Maliki madhab, but you never studied it. But you are able to pick up the books, or you know certain things from it, or when you grew up, your dad or your parents was Maliki, or the masjid you went to was Maliki. So you just carry that title, but you never really studied it. You just got bits and pieces from here and there, just like how our salats, this and that, we just got bits and pieces from the masjid, people we was around, make wudu this way, salat this way. That's why you got people doing this. Even like with the trivia, like with the new Islamic questions that I got right now, we don't all have the same answers. And it's alhamdulillah, it's not a knock, but people gotta understand, man, and then go in to look into. And I probably shouldn't say this because I want people to come from taqwa and answer in the way that they really think. I spoke to a couple of people and they told me they looked it up so that they can answer it. They told me they looked it up so they could answer it. And that's alhamdulillah. Go ahead and get you some dalil, but I want you to answer from what you already know. You know what I'm saying? Then, once we go over it, Then start to learn to look for the dalil. But I want you to be honest with yourself. Because if these, let's say I'm breaking these questions down. And here's 4 questions. Here's 4 questions. But this could be a quiz. If all of these 8 questions was on a test, will we pass the quiz? Will we get a straight A? Will we get straight A's? It ain't an open book quiz. It ain't, we can go look it up. You know, but I don't want to discourage nobody. I don't want nobody to feel like, no, I ain't going to answer, man. The brother won't get, ain't nobody going to know who you is, not even me. You know what I'm saying? Because we too scared of being wrong. And like I always say, being wrong isn't the problem. Staying wrong is. Staying wrong is. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to be wrong. It's alright to be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But I don't want people to cheat it. But I do want people to see who click and they answer on there. Just look at how we don't all have the same answer. You know what I'm saying? Where's our understandings coming from? Anyway, man, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.